Hey guys, what's up? So coming at you here again today from a sunny day in Shanghai, sitting by the Suzhou Creek. So yesterday I attended this very interesting seminar organized by the European Chamber of Commerce about the trade relationship between China and Europe. It was hosted by a very prominent EU politician, and these events tend to be quite diplomatic, just like talking about official, talking points, very neutral. But this time it was off the record, and it was also quite a small group. It was just me and maybe 20 other members from some European companies. So it was very open and very candid discussion. I can't quote anybody because, again, it was officially off the record. But what came out in the meeting was, for me, quite shocking and eye-opening. Of course, the backdrop are these Chinese export restrictions of rare earth magnets, which are now hitting Europe incredibly hard in all types of manufacturing these days, whether it's automotive or whether it's making coffee machines or anything else. You need these rare earth magnets. And because of the restrictions, a lot of these industries are facing production stoppages already and even more in the near future. So what I thought was that these restrictions would be implemented from November, but actually they have already been implemented partially earlier this year. So there have been discussions between EU and China at the very top level of how to mitigate the impact. For example, they agreed to have this special council where they would review these applications and they would speed things up for very urgent cases. And this has been done. It was looking quite hopeful in the beginning, but now they find that it appears like there's not enough qualified people to review these applications, so things have slowed down a lot. And it seems that also the Americans have been much more successful at getting these applications through than the Europeans, possibly because the Americans simply apply more pressure. So there's a feeling right now in Europe that being nice, being diplomatic, following the rules, having discussions, has not really led anywhere positive for Europe, and that they believe the only language the Chinese understand is pressure and kind of like brutal force. So that member states are now behind closed doors, going via the EU. They don't want to do it openly themselves because they're afraid of the repercussions. So they're going to do via the EU, and they're asking for much more severe countermeasures against China and trade policy. The EU normally follows WTO guidelines and rules for any kind of market access topic or anti-dumping, tariffs, whatever. But in this case, it seems that they are considering using the nuclear option, so to say, which is called counter-coercion measures, which could mean anything. It could mean, for example, blocking access to European markets. It could be blocking investment. It could be doubling or tripling the tariffs. Stuff we haven't really seen in Europe, apart from, which is what we have seen basically from Trump. That has never been the case in Europe, but it seems like this is coming unless things are improving rapidly in terms of these export restrictions. So yeah, that is the situation right now. It seems the EU doesn't believe these restrictions from China are temporary. It's not a part of some trade negotiation with the US where EU is simply caught in the crossfire. It seems like it's more a part of the Chinese industrial policy, the so-called double circulation policy, which is essentially a mercantilist approach to kind of let China depend less on the world and let the world depend more on China, which means that China welcomes investment from overseas, opening up factories in China where they can use these rare earths for production, but they don't want to facilitate overseas countries to open up factories in their home countries and using these rare earth magnets. So it seems that the EU now is very clear-eyed about this topic, and they are considering very strong countermeasures, which will simply create even more mess in the global trade relationships. She also clearly stated that she believes a lot of policies in China right now, it's basically leading to more export from China and less exports from Europe to China. So the trade relationship, which used to benefit Europe, especially German car manufacturers, is now coming to an end. So there's less incentive for European countries to actually support this trade, open trade between China and the EU. And we also spoke a little bit about this topic about involution, that every provincial government in China is supporting certain strategic energy sectors, which then leads to overcapacity. Even in China today, it's difficult to make money if you're in those sectors. But then one solution has, of course, been to export the surplus to overseas, which then knocks out industries in other countries. And this is something the EU is also very well aware about, and also something they're trying to stop going ahead. My takeaway is that we're going to see a lot more aggressive policy from the EU against China going ahead. And unfortunately, this relationship, which used to be quite open and easygoing, will also have a lot more tension going ahead. So yeah, that's just my recap from the event. And yeah, as a European in China, I'm not very happy about this, but it is the way it is. So nothing more to say. Thanks guys for your attention, and see you next time.